Welcome back to the channel, guys, and today I have 5 tactical tips that are going to help you on Football Manager 24. Let's do it. The first tactical tip I've got is something I've used for a long time now. It's something that I've used almost every single time I play against the top team. So in this save, for example, we're in Serie A. So obviously the top teams, as you guys know, the Milans, Juventus, Roma, Napoli, Lazio, etc. Those guys. And what I like to do when it works, and it always has worked, and I think it always will work, is especially if you have players in the attacking midfield left and attacking midfield right positions, if you play with guys down here, left midfield and right midfield, you don't really need this because they defend better anyway. But if you play with players on the wing, up here, as most people do, especially against top teams, like I said, a great thing to do that really helps is if you go into the player instructions, you can do this in-game if you want, because they might be playing with wing backs rather than full backs, so you might have to change this, is edit instructions. And obviously he's on the left wing, Wadreogo, right? So we're going to mark specific position, and we're going to mark right back. And what will happen is, it'll defend more. So as their top players, they'll have the ball more because they're one of the better teams, right? And he will follow him back. Now, obviously, like I said before, left midfield and right midfield, you don't need to do it because they track them back anyway. They're much better from down here. But if you're wanting the counter-attacking strength of a guy being high up, but also the defensive side. Now, it's not perfect. I much prefer my wingers a lot of the time down here, but this tactic's working for me, so I don't really want to change it. But if you want to just try it and see how it works, for me, it's always worked. I've got so many 1-1 draws, 1-0 wins, 2-1 wins, 3-2 wins over top teams when I've just been promoted by doing that. It was an absolute game changer when I first started doing it. Maybe like 10 years ago, and it still works now. So definitely give that a try and let me know how you get on. Tip number 2, we have personalised positions, and what I mean by that is Marin Petkov here on my right wing is an inverted winger attack, as you can see, but I have Jeremy Doku on loan, and when Jeremy Doku comes on, I want this guy to play as a winger. So what I like to do is, when I go to Jeremy Doku and I put him in there, I don't want to have to change this every single time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click personalised, and then I'm going to click winger attack. Right, so now you can see the little green button there. If I take Jeremy Doku off Petkov, it will change to inverted winger. Like I said before, if I put Doku back on, changes to winger. You can do that anywhere, by the way. You can do that any position that you totally want. If you sub a goalkeeper in and he's more of a goalkeeper than a sweeper keeper, you can absolutely do it there as well. My other striker, Colombo, isn't as good as a complete forward. He's more of an advanced forward. So when he comes on, he automatically changes to advanced forward. Now, you might not think it's a big deal because it's a couple of clicks of a button, but if you forget to do it, because it's a possibility that you do forget, then your player will be playing in a different role and he won't be making the most out of his skill set. For example, the one that's probably the most important, I would say, is if you've got a playmaker in your team. For example, Baldanzi is for me. Now, my other playmaker, Topalovic, is a good playmaker, so this doesn't apply for me, but it could for you, this example. If you've got a deep line playmaker or advanced playmaker or whoever, and the team are looking to give him the ball more, but you take him off and put on someone that's more of a ball winner, and you forget to change it, and it's not automatic like that, he's going to be sat there as a playmaker. The player's going to be passing to him, and he's got 10 vision. It could cost you. It might not, but it's a little tip that you guys can just remember to change, and you won't get caught out. Tip number 3 is quite interesting. It's something that I've only just started recently doing, and I thought I'd let you guys know if you don't already. And basically, the little button up here is next match only. Now, it's out of the way a little bit, and it says tactical changes apply to next match only. Now, if you're playing, for example, right now, I'm playing away in the Champions League against Atletico Madrid, right? Now, I might want to change a few things. I might not want to go lower tempo. I might not want to go short passing because we're away, we're going to get pressed. I might want to go a little bit more direct. So, if I click next match only, like that, and then make a few changes to my tactics, after the game, the tactics will revert back to my original tactics, so I don't have to remember what I had set, or I have to do this and load it back in, right? I don't need to do that. If you just click next match only, it only applies for that next game, and then also you could save the tactic if it works inside the game, and then put it on one of your other slots. So the next match only there is really, really important, I think. I use it quite a lot now, especially in big games like this, and it goes back to the original tactic, so don't worry about it. If you just want to click that, change a few things, it comes back to normal, and you're absolutely fine. This next tactical tip is one that goes hand in hand with number 1, which was your wingers coming back and chasing their fullbacks. Now, another thing is I like to use this formation, 4-1-4-1, right? I love it. It's my favourite formation. It works ridiculously well. I honestly think it might be overpowered, to be honest. But let's say, for example, you have a very strong midfield, especially central midfield and down the centre, basically. Or, actually, it could be your strongest area could be out wide. Not a problem. It doesn't really matter about that, but basically you've got an area in your team that you know, especially without the ball, is really strong. For me, it's my central area. Baldanzi, Folorunsho, Som, and my two centre-backs are very, very strong. And my right-back especially is basically a centre-back out wide. So we are very good at defending central areas. Now, what I like to do is I like to go on opposition instructions, and then I make every single player on the outside of their tactics. So, for example, Jimenez, Molina, Zamora, Ronaldo, Depay, and Griezmann, right? These guys down the side. I like to make sure all those guys are cutting inside, because what I want them to do is I want them to cut inside to all the bodies are, right? That's what I want to do. So I'll put him on his right foot. I'll put him on his left foot. And then to start with as well, the good thing about this is usually, like Ronaldo, for example, he is left-footed. So naturally, I actually will be also putting him on his right foot, which is his weak foot, but also I'll be pushing him inside where all my bodies are going to be, all my physically good athletic players are that's ready to pounce and win the ball. Obviously, for Molina's right-footed as well, so I'll put him on the left. It does get a little bit tricky with the wingers because, for example, Depay is on the right here, on the left here, and he's right-footed, and Griezmann is on the right here, and he's left-footed, and they're very dangerous. Now, I also find this year that crossing is really overpowered. So actually, I don't mind putting these guys inside because we've got a lot of bodies there. So it might just he comes inside and he might hit one. It's Griezmann. He could do that at any point. Depay could as well. You can't stop it 100%. But I like to play with them coming inside, and we just they come inside, they've got nowhere to go, and we like to win the ball off them, right? So I put him on the left-hand side as well. I put him on the right. Now, it sounds ridiculous because obviously I'm putting him on the favoured foot. But like I said, there is a plan behind it. And then what I also like to do is a little kicker at the end is I like to put the striker on their weaker foot. So if they get the ball, especially as a lone striker, if they get the ball, they're looking where to play. We push them on the weak foot and then hopefully we can take it off them. Or if we can't take it off them, because they're on the weak foot, they might not be able to play the through ball or a shot that is as well as they would if they was on their strong foot, which was what they will try to go on to naturally, right? So after you made everyone come inside or on the outside, depending on where the strongest area of your team is, now what you can do in the latest couple of FMs is now you can set pressing traps right here. So what you can do is, like me, if I like to put people coming inside, I also like to trap them on the inside. So when they do come inside, that's when I want my players, like it says, trap inside, ask the team to set a pressing trap designed to funnel the ball into central areas and force turnovers. So what will happen is, coupled with the opposition instructions and the pressing trap, they will come inside, and then your players, whilst they get balls inside, they will press a lot more on the inside of the pitch. So actually, you can set up really good counter-attacking systems in a mid-block with pressing traps like that, and it's fantastic to get big results against top teams, especially when your team near the bottom of the league or expected to finish near the bottom of the league. You can massively, massively outperform the season preview, the media prediction, your board expectations, your supporter expectations, and probably your own expectations. The last tactical tip of the video is going to be inside your players' tactics tab. So if we look at Marcel Ratnik, my right centre-back, he likes to play on the right-hand side of a back two. And as we can see, that is if we go into development and then tactics, and we hover over there, it says prefers to be on the right in a two-man pairing. So if I played him on the left, he probably wouldn't like it as much in terms of his morale might dip a little bit, but also his performances would slightly take a dip as well. Now, a lot of players do have this. Now, there's a lot of players that have no preference, so it won't matter which side you play them. But honestly, I would go in and check. For example, Declan Rice at Arsenal, he's right-footed, but if you go into his tactics tab, he actually prefers to play on the left in a two-man pairing. And also in defensive midfield, if there's two defensive midfielders at Arsenal, he likes to be on the left of that too. Martin Ødegaard is the absolute opposite. So although he's left-footed, as we know in real life, he likes to play in this right-hand channel. So it's mirrored in the game. So he prefers to be on the right in a two-man pairing or on the right or middle in a three-man pairing, and the same in attacking midfield too. So you guys can glean a little bit of information from each of your players. Now, you might be playing a left centre-back who likes to be on the right, or you might be playing a centre midfielder who wants to be on the right and he's on the left. Just have a look at different things. The strikers as well, your front two, if you're playing with two strikers, one of them might prefer to be on the left over the right, etc. Just have a look. It might make a massive difference. It might make a small difference. It might not make a difference, but it could make a difference. And we're all about, on this channel, trying to help you guys to get better at FM. That is my 5 tactical tips. Leave a subscription on the channel, guys. That would be absolutely amazing. Help me out. We're so close to 4,000. Leave a like as well, and a comment would be amazing. If you guys have got any tips that I might have missed, leave them down below. And until next time, I'll catch you then. Goodbye.